I'm in love. 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 Like a darling, darling, oh my sweetie,
My sweetie.
darling.
Hi. I'm in love. I'm in love. I'm in la la la. I'm in love. I'm in love. With me. With me, myself, and I. Yes. You know, we talk a lot about self-love as the root or the foundation of abundance and living an abundant life. It all is rooted in self-love. Now, the truth is, I didn't always love myself. And as funny as that sounds, you don't even know about it. You don't even feel it. It's like, I don't love myself. Of course I love myself. Like, of course I love myself. But then our actions don't or are not in alignment with that statement. Now, there are 3 things that I want to share with you that really made me realize that I have broken through some kind of barrier when it comes to self-love and me. So the first one was taking responsibility for my life. When I was standing over 10 years ago now in front of the pawnbroker shop, selling my precious belongings, that little voice asking, Veronica, what on earth are you doing with your life? Is this what you want? Are these the kind of choices you want to be making? I had to take responsibility and acting upon that, meaning everything I did, everything I said, everything I wanted, I had to own. That meant I had to make sure of what I wanted, had to make sure of who I was, and had to make sure that all the decisions I make and the actions I take from now on are mine. That is an act of self-love. Taking responsibility for our lives personally and for our businesses professionally. The second act of self-love that really made me realize that, yes, I have broken through some barrier was the kind of self-talk I indulged in. Now, trust me, there are times where the doubt creeps in and I hear that old voice, and I'm sure you do too. Sometimes we are in alignment. Things are going great. Things are happening. You know, the ball is rolling. Momentum is happening and things feel so great. But then the old version creeps in and says, are you sure you know what you're doing? Why don't we go back into that safe space where it's nice, dark, and cozy? I have that sometimes too. But when that creeps in, I catch it. And I'm like, hey, it's you again. Nice to see you. I think you need a little hug. One of my clients, she called that energy that keeps on coming back sometimes from the past, that old self. She calls it an elephant sitting on her shoulder. It feels so heavy sometimes. And I'm like, why don't we give it an elephant hug? So that act, that I recognize that voice, that old Veronica, the old version. And I'm like, oh, it's you again. I think you just need a little hug, a little attention, a little tender, loving care. So I give that energy a hug and reassured that, you know what, I'm in charge. I know what I'm doing. I know you love me, but trust me on this one, all right? So then that old energy kind of disappears and it relaxes and it says, okay, I trust you. And then we're back on track. So that's another act. Number 2, that self-talk is now more empowering. It's more of belief, more of faith, more of hope, more of ability and capability in what I can do and my skills and my passion and my purpose. The third act of self-love that I realized I had broken through something really powerful was letting go. Most of you who know my story, you know that I went through a separation with my former husband, and what had happened, it could have gone so bad. But because of at that moment in my life of the awareness I had, and I had kids then, I made it a very conscious effort to really let go of the pain. For me to experience peace, I had to give peace. For me to experience compassion for myself, I had to give compassion. For me to experience forgiveness, I had to give forgiveness. And that meant letting go of the pain because it no longer served me. And being in such peaceful relationship with my former husband, I feel is such an achievement that we can have conversations, we can sort things out with the kids, and we are at peace most of the time. So these 3 acts have really shown me the level of self-love that I have achieved, because it wasn't always like that. So number 1, taking responsibility for my actions and what I want and how I go about achieving it. Number 2, my self-talk is more of empowerment, is more of capability and ability and trust and faith. And the 3rd sign of self-love is your ability to let go of the pain that you may have experienced in your life, the pain, the guilt, the shame, whatever it is. That's my act of self-love I wanted to share with you. What are the different things that you feel prove or show that, yes, you have achieved this sense of love for yourself? And it shows in the actions you take, and it shows in the way you feel about yourself. Would love to have this conversation with you. Comment below. Let's have a conversation. Turning me on? No. Not that part. Set my eyes on you, I'm in love. I fall in love. From the very first day, I see I'm in love. I don't know the words, but hey. I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in la la la, I'm in love, 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 I'm in la la la, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love. Hey, darling, my sweetie, yeah. You're the angel of my life. You make me love and make me smile. Angel of my life. Who are you in love with?